The Event Horizon Telescope is a scary, trashy, downright gaudy little piece of business. Something we shouldn't be messing with. That's a laugh. As if that thing that's out there would consider us some kind of race. Some kind of unified front, reaching towards the cosmos with eager, stubby little arms. The stubby little arms of a toddler that drops something on the floor and just can't quite reach it. The thing. Years and years and years, and goddamn years ago, I was part of that pact, the precursor to what we now call the space program. Something our stupid little governments threw together when it tossed us that invitation. Of course, that's what they initially thought of it as. An invitation. A casual howdy from the new neighbor upstairs. But some of us knew better. Saw the writing on the wall. It was testing us. Dipping its big, black, awful appendage in the proverbial water. Seeing how we'd react. The smartest ones in the room, myself humbly included, how else would I be writing this, took a big step backwards. But those other Neanderthals, they saw the blueprints that our visitor had given us and got right to the building phase. No questions asked. The visitor. Please. It had always been here. Or out there, I suppose. Waiting, biding, watching. It sat in its dark hole, hoping for that precise moment when we, the others, had advanced enough in our own technology that we could say hello and discover its little gift. Discover. Sure. Just as it planned for us to do. That goddamn door. The box arrived like an intergalactic postal package, covered in dust and cosmic well wishes, the simplistic instructions like something you would find at IKEA. As it turned out, our little group, our think tank, made up of the most brilliant minds the entire goddamn world had to offer, had no problem throwing a little caution to the wind. As one of my favorite thinkers once said, they were so concerned with whether or not they could. Well, you know the rest. The construction of it went smooth, very smooth, of course. I remember that first time, when the door was opened. How could I forget? There was a bright light that illuminated the entire bunker we had devoted to the project, to the construction of it. But the light was short-lived, because the thing wasted no time in trying to get through. Dum-Dum number 1, had to be a military man, I don't even remember his name, started scratching his eyeballs out the moment he saw it. Laughing and laughing and laughing as he got 2 knuckles deep into those new gristle-filled holes on his face. He eventually hit the floor with a heavy, empty thud, just as Dum-Dum number 2 tried to close the door. Of course, number 2 made the mistake of taking a peek at it before doing so. Hell, how could he not? In the brief glimpses I stole, I could see that it was already halfway through the door. At least part of it was. As number 2 stood in motionless awe, I saw the slimy appendage, the blackness of it, the void of limitless, colorless space reflected in its glistening hide. It reached forth, and number 2 did the same. Somewhere, Dum-Dum number 3, a colleague whose name I do recall, but I choose to leave out, shouted, begged for him to lower your fucking hand. For God's sake, please, put it down. But number 2 didn't listen. It took maybe 2 seconds of contact before he combusted. I had never seen anything like it. and I hope I never do again. Total protonic reversal is what some egghead called it later on. All I remember is the sound of his innards slapping clumsily to the floor, combined with the hollow click of his lower jaw bursting through the back of his skull. Still in shock, I found myself unable to move. There was a sudden whooshing sound, some kind of vague, otherworldly shriek. I was told later that nobody in the room had made this noise, and the recording seemed to confirm this. But I know I heard it. And then the light dimmed even further. The only noise I heard after that was number 3 sobbing. His hand was on the control panel, and the door had been closed. And just like that, everything was buried. The silence was deafening, as the family of the recently deceased was simply informed that their loved ones had perished in a freak lab accident. Very sorry. Here's a fruit basket. Best wishes. 3 made it, I think, 2 weeks before inserting a bullet into his mouth and letting it out through the top of his skull. He had no family or, other than maybe myself, any friends to speak of. That's when I disappeared, took the money they gave me, took the new name, and vanished. The last thing I had heard before pulling my disappearing act was that even the records of the records were to be destroyed. And yet, here we are. I find myself having to return as a harbinger of ill news. An old man with a warning to all those young and bright and plucky little scientists that can't wait for their high-tech Polaroids to develop, to see the fruit of their Philistine telescope bore. Don't do it. Don't release them. I'm sure somebody has already taken a peek, just like I'm sure that same somebody is no longer amongst the living. Because I have no doubt in my mind that the other thing out there, the thing that went through so much trouble the first time, crawled right back into its dark burrow and began to wait. Wait for us to foolishly open the door once more, so it can say, hello. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more, let me know in the comments below, and tell me what you thought of this narration. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for updates, and if you'd like to get early videos, shoutouts, and much more, I'd appreciate it if you check out my Patreon page. It's a place where you can help support my channel while getting awesome rewards in the process, and every pledge helps out a ton, no matter the size. So if you'd like to see all the rewards I offer and consider becoming a patron, it'd mean a ton to me if you'd click the link in the description and just check it out. And don't forget to show some love to the amazingly talented authors who make these narrations possible. Have a good night, everybody. Cheers.